Welcome to the Legacy Leadership Podcast, where we help Christian founder led nonprofits to get funded so that you can lead well, live whole, and leave a legacy. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about marketing and Mindshare. And I'm actually going to share some excerpts from my book, Fundraising Momentum. I'm going to look at some specific definitions just to refer to those and share a little bit about these concepts of marketing and Mindshare and how they play into fundraising. And so I want to start off kind of in the middle of my book here, starting to talk about marketing and look at some definitions because I think it's important to know how we define some of these words that I'm going to use so that we can really have a shared understanding of the concepts. And so the first one is marketing, and the dictionary defines marketing as the activities involved in the transfer of goods or services from a seller to a buyer. It's kind of a very transactional definition. And I like to use this definition that my dad used to teach. We used to do a lot of teaching of salespeople in the for-profit industry. And I like to take some of those concepts of sales and marketing in the for-profit world and translate those into the nonprofit space. And so the definition that we used to use of sales, and this could kind of factor into a piece of marketing, is that it's the belief that you can influence the buying decisions of others by presenting the right thing to the right person in the right way at the right time. So presenting the right thing to the right person in the right way at the right time, that if you believe you can influence somebody's decisions by showing up in all of those right capacities and right ways, that is ultimately what sales is. And sales is just a part of marketing. Marketing is the overall, how do I connect with somebody else? How do I connect with somebody who wants to partner with me, somebody who wants to donate to my organization, and then how do I turn that interest into somebody who's actually given? And so the for-profit space, how do I go from being the seller, taking this service or transfer of goods from the seller to the buyer? And in the nonprofit space, it's how do I present my vision, my mission, my programming to potential partners, and then the transaction that happens to where they actually donate, till they actually support. And everything that's involved in that process of presentation to the gaining of the donation, every single piece of that is marketing. And marketing can be this very complex thing, or we can just think about it as the process from presenting to a potential partner to actually gaining support from that partner. The next one that I want to look at is demographics. This is another concept for us to be able to dig into. It's a real core concept of marketing is demographics. And demographics are the statistical characteristics of a population, would include their age, income, education level, geography, occupation, so on. And the thing that I want to look at with demographics as we explore marketing, as we explore mindshare, is that not every single person is your ideal. Not every single person is your ideal donor, your ideal partner, your ideal supporter. And so I think it's really important to recognize that. And if not everyone is your ideal partner, then it means some people are and some people aren't. And demographics is what helps us to identify the right person to connect to our organization. It helps us to weed out the people who are going to be good partners and those who are not going to be good partners. Now, when it comes to marketing in general, I'm going to take a big step back here for a second and just state that we really, as nonprofits, we're marketing to two different groups of people. Almost every single nonprofit, there's two groups that we're marketing to. The first group that we're marketing to is potential partners, those that would be supporting the organization, volunteering in the organization. They're giving some kind of support, whether it's time, money, or resources. That's the first group of people that we are partnering with. The The second group of people that we are marketing to is our program participants. Whoever the end user is, we're also marketing to them to grow our program. So if I am a library, I'm marketing to the people who are donating to the library, who are supporting the fund for us to be able to make everything work. Maybe I'm doing grant writing or I'm marketing to people in the town. I don't actually know all the ways libraries are funded. I'm just using this as a fun example. But I'm marketing to the people who are going to support. I'm also marketing to the community, the people in the community that want to utilize the resource, that want to be able to come and take books out and check out DVDs. Like I'm marketing to two groups of people. When I was running youth ministry, I remember we did a lot of marketing to grow our youth programming. We had programming from elementary school all the way up through high school. And then even coming out of high school, we had programming for young adults going into our internship program or being leaders within our youth programs. And so we were marketing across a wide age range of people. We were marketing within a particular geography that we were looking for program participants, those that we could serve, that we could help to be able to bring them into the youth program. We were marketing the services or the homework times or the youth groups or everything else. And we had a whole series of how we were growing our youth programming. And all of that was marketing to be able to bring the program participants in to be able to serve the population that we felt called to serve. So we were marketing to that population of young people, while at the same time, we were marketing to the people who supported the youth program. We were going and speaking in churches and we were talking to partners, and we had a newsletter that went out to actually both groups of people. We had a newsletter that went out to all of our supporters. Every single month, we sent out a newsletter to everybody that was supporting the organization to keep them up to date on what was happening, to maintain those relationships, to request new support from that group of people. And then we had a weekly newsletter that went out to our program participants that every single week we sent little updates and we sent a Bible verse for them to read, and we sent out some prize tickets for them to be able to redeem when they came to the youth program. And so we had two different sets of marketing, one for the program participants and one for our partners that we're supporting. And so again, demographics plays a key role in both of those. We need to know who we're serving, what age range, where are they from, which is a very different group of people than who's supporting us, how old are they, where are they from, what's their age, stage in life, whatever else, right? So demographics helps us to identify the specific subgroup of people that we're partnering with or that we're marketing to. The next definition that I want to look at is perception. Perception is how something is seen or understood. And marketing shapes perception. And this is where I guess I want to just tackle one issue that I see with a lot of leaders when I start talking about marketing. Is marketing all of a sudden starts to feel manipulative. And I want to deal with this a little bit later on, but I feel like I need to at least put a pin in it now, is that a lot of marketing concepts can be used to manipulate people. They can be used in manipulating others. There's also an ethical side of marketing and fundraising. There's an ethical way of fundraising. And so I want to just put a pin in that as we go through some of these definitions, as we go through some of these principles, that we're going to come back to this idea of manipulation versus persuasion versus ethical marketing and what that looks like. So let's dive back into perception. Perception is how something is seen or understood, and marketing shapes perception. And so when we are marketing to other individuals, we want to make sure that we're giving the right perception to the people that we are marketing to. If the idea is to invite other people to partner with our organization, to support our organization financially or with time or with resources, however they might be funding us and helping us out, we want to make sure that we're giving the right perception to those people. And this is why it's so important. Perception is reality for a lot of people. And so the way that I market is going to create a perception of professionalism, of excellence might give the perception, if I'm not doing a good job marketing, that we're some fly by night, fly by the seat of our pants organization who really doesn't have things together. We don't know what we're doing, and we have no vision and purpose. That would be bad marketing, right? Bad marketing would give a perception that is non-ideal. That's not the perception that we want to give off. And if my marketing is giving the perception that I don't know what we're doing, we're unprofessional, we don't have good programming, we have no vision, we have no plan, and we don't really know why we're doing anything, if that is the perception that my marketing is creating, then of course nobody's going to support my organization. Nobody's going to support an organization that they perceive to be ineffective. And so our marketing is used to be able to create the perception of hopefully what is. Now, some people use marketing to create a perception of what is not in order to manipulate. Sometimes people have no programming, no idea of how they're actually helping the end user. Maybe they're not actually serving anybody, and marketing can create a false perception that invites people to support something that's not real. That's not what we want to do. As ethical fundraisers, we want to give people the real perception. We don't want to lie to people. We want to market with integrity, but we also want to market from a place that we really are showing people what it is that we're doing. We're telling the story well. We're inviting people in to participate in what we're doing, and we need to show people with proper marketing in order to create the real perception of what's actually happening. Most organizations that I'm connected with, that I work with, they're doing good work. They're serving people. They're doing it in a phenomenal way. And I'm sure everybody listening, you have the right heart. You have the right motivation. You're even helping the people. You're building learning centers or integrating with people in your community. Maybe you're helping the homeless, and you're doing really great work. If your marketing is not in line with that, then you're hindering the funding that you could have access to. And so perception is incredibly important. Another concept or word that we need to understand when it comes to marketing is this word branding. And a lot of people think that branding is just a logo, that, I have my brand, I have my logo, but a brand is really the impression that people carry about you. It kind of factors into this perception. A brand is part of what creates the perception. Some people think of branding as, a logo, or it's my colors, or maybe it's my slogan, but a brand is all of these pieces tied together. When I think about Starbucks as a brand, it's not just the mermaid on the side of the cup. It's the coffee, it's the taste, it's the smell. When I walk into a Starbucks, it smells a particular way. There's certain music that's going on in a Starbucks. All of these items they create the brand. They create the experience that somebody has when they come in. When I walk into a Starbucks, I'm greeted. Now, in my Starbucks, I go in very regularly, so I'm greeted by name. They know who I am. People are very friendly. Another part of the Starbucks brand is I can customize and order anything that I want to order. I can make every customization to my drink that I might want to make, and if it's made wrong, they're going to remake it so that I get the right drink. There's all these aspects of the Starbucks brand. And it's the same within our organizations. It's the experience that's created when people interact with us. It is the impression that people carry about you. The perception that people carry around is your brand. Are you known for excellence? Are you known for compassion, efficiency, integrity? Or are you known for confusion? That can be part of your brand unintentionally, is that you have a very confusing brand. Your brand creates confusion. People don't really know what to think of you. You've got a logo that doesn't actually mean anything to anybody, or maybe the name of your organization means nothing and it confuses people, right? Our brand is the impression that people carry around about us. The next one, this is again another interesting concept when it comes to marketing. It's a very core concept to marketing, and it's hard for some of us, again, to wrap our heads around this without feeling manipulative. But hopefully I can break this down into a way that really resonates and that you can understand. And so it's the concept of mindshare. Mindshare is incredibly powerful. And Mindshare is the idea that every single person on the planet, every single human being, we only have so much space in our brains consciously to recall or remember things. When I say to name sodas, different types of soda, there's certain ones that pop up to the top of our brain. I have Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Sprite, Fanta, and then eventually we get to the point, usually about 5 to 7 things in, we have to start really thinking, what are those other sodas? What are other ones? Okay, I can think of ginger ale, or I could think of this or that, right? But it takes a little bit more thought for us to get past that first five or so things. We only have so much space for recall. Now, if I really thought of it, I could probably think of other sodas, but they're not on the top of my mind. Those five sodas that I named, really all of them belong to Coke and Pepsi. They've done a great job of capturing mind share. They've done a great job of capturing my mind share as the first sodas that I think of. You probably thought of very similar ones. Now, maybe you have a different favorite soda that you go to and it's your go-to soda. That brand, that company has captured your mind share. It's a share of your mental space, of your conscious awareness. How does this play into marketing? Well, any good marketer wants to capture mind share of the people that they are looking to connect with. And so if I am looking to connect with a group of youth in my community, then I want them to think of my youth center as the one of the first places when they think of where am I going to hang out on a Saturday. I want my youth center to be at the top of their list. They might think of the movie theater, they might think of the mall, and then they think of my youth center. And those are the things that pop up before, going to other places. They think of, hey, why don't we go to the youth center? And if that's the case, then I've done a good job at capturing mind share within that population of people. Same thing with my supporters. They only have a limited amount of mind share for any particular category. And so when I think of sodas, I think of here's my 5, 6, 7 different sodas that come to mind. When I think of malls, I might have, 3 or 4 malls that are around me, and those are the ones that pop up. Are those the only malls that exist? No, they're not. There's actually other malls that even exist within driving distance. They just don't pop into my mind. When I think of stores that I might go visit or clothing brands or any other thing, there's only so much mind share for every single category, and it's the same for nonprofits. There's only so much space for the category of an organization doing good that I might fund with my money. And so when I think of giving somewhere and I have expendable cash or I have money that I feel I want to give towards a good cause, towards an organization, there's a limited amount of organizations that come to mind. I might automatically think of, some really big organizations that I'm familiar with, but there's usually 3, 4, 5 organizations that really come to mind when I would say, oh, I want to give to an organization. These are the ones that pop up. And that's why some organizations do a really, really good job with fundraising, especially in the midst of disasters. When there's a disaster that happens, people want to respond, they want to be part of it, they want to help out. And it's in those top 2, 3 organizations that pop up in everybody's minds as the authorities, as those ones that come to mind. People jump on their phones, they go to give to the thing, and they give to one of those organizations that's captured mindshare. And so for you, for your organization, as part of being a good marketer, you want to think about how do I capture mind share within the target group of people that I want to market to. If I look at my demographics, I define my ideal supporter, my ideal partner, then I want to market to that person, market to that subset of that group of people, and I want to capture mind share within that group of people so that when they have money to give, my organization is at the top of their mind for them to be able to send money to. Now, this is a really interesting concept because so many of us just assume that because we're doing good things, people know about us, people stay connected to us. But there are more causes in the world now than there is money to fund them. I remember talking with one foundation, and it was the head of this particular foundation determined where all the money goes for a pretty large foundation. And I remember her sharing with me that there are more organizations looking for support from the same amount of money. So they don't have more money that they're giving to organizations, but every year they have more and more proposals coming in for people seeking money. And so, what you want within your supporters, within those that you're reaching out to, is that finite amount of money. We want them to donate it to our organization. Now, does that mean we're competing with other organizations? Absolutely not. I believe in the nonprofit space, if we can collaborate with others and we can create win-win situations where maybe we're both going in on a project together, we're doing something together, it doesn't have to be a competing thing, but I do want people to think of my organization when they have that extra funding. And so Mindshare is a really key component of that. So let's dive into this ethical question. Is marketing ethical? Is marketing just manipulative? Is it all about psychology and how do I say the right thing to you in order to manipulate you into giving me money or giving me your time? I think a lot of people they get really stuck in this idea. Even when I teach personality profiling. I teach how do you understand different temperaments? How do you understand different personalities? And it's really not about manipulating people. It's about connecting with people where they are. And I was taught these two different words, and they might not be the actual definitions. I don't know. I just like to think of it this way when it comes to being an ethical marketer. There's manipulation and persuasion. Manipulation is me trying to get you to do what I want you to, despite what you may or may not want. And so you might not actually want to support my organization, but I can manipulate you into supporting. I can use marketing and psychology and tactics and neurolinguistic programming and all of these other things to manipulate you into giving to create a false perception of what my organization is doing so that you give me money. That's manipulation. We don't want to be manipulators when it comes to marketing and it comes to fundraising. We don't want to do it in a manipulative way. Now, persuasion is that I am presenting to you in a way to persuade you to do the thing you already wanted to do. If I am presenting to somebody who already wants to support children, already wants to support education. They care about the poor, the hungry, the broken, the lost, the forgotten. And these are all things that you care about. I want to market to you in a way to help you understand that I'm doing all of those things through my organization, that I create the right perception of reality to say that I'm running schools in Haiti. I'm taking care of children who are hungry. I'm taking care of families who are broken and forgotten and lost and all of those things that you care about. I want through my marketing to do a good job of helping you have the right perception of my organization to say that our core values align in the way that my organization is working and the way that you want to support. I want to capture mind share of my ideal person. If our values match, our mission matches, our vision matches, then I want to capture that person's mind share because realistically they already are looking for an organization like mine to support. And so out of persuasion, I'm persuading you to do the thing you already want to do. I'm not manipulating you to do what I want despite what you want to do. And it's a very fine distinction. It's a fine balance. Even when it comes to personalities, everybody wants to be talked to in a certain way. Some people are very assertive. Some people are very passive. Assertive people like to be told what to do, and passive people like to be asked what to do. Some people are very emotional and they love the stimulation of a conversation, or they like very stimulating marketing. They like pictures and graphics and all sorts of stimulating colors. Other people are very logical. They're very calm and cool and collected, and they're going to respond to different things. And so I want to present to each person in the way that they're going to hear, because communication is all about getting my message from my brain, from my thoughts, from my organization to be translated and understood appropriately by the person that I'm attempting to communicate to. And so if I'm trying to communicate to somebody who is a very calm, cool, collected, logical person, and all of the marketing that I'm using is very flashy and stimulating and bright colors, then my message isn't going to connect with that person. It's not about manipulating the other person, it's about creating true relational connection. Because effective and long lasting fundraising is all about relationships. And so, if I don't understand psychology, if I don't understand relationships, if I don't understand marketing principles and mindshare and how to create the right perception for people, then we can't have a relationship. We can't have true connection. I'm adding more difficulty to the relationship that I want to have. It's not that I'm manipulating somebody into having a relationship with me. I want to connect with them where they are. So I hope that some of this is giving you some really good information about marketing, about mindshare, about perception, demographics. In a future episode, I'll probably get into some more specifics of how do you identify or define your ideal donor. What does that look like? How do you put some definition to the person that you want to connect with? We might get into identifying and creating your core values within your organization. There's so many different aspects. I want to get into some book reviews on some specific books that have really helped me in understanding how to communicate with people well to create the right perception of what my organization's doing. Lots of great stuff. In the meantime, I would really recommend that you go and check out my book, Fundraising Momentum. You can find it on Amazon. You can find the link on my website, legacyleadershipsystem.com. There's a link right on the website that takes you over to the book. I would highly encourage you to check out the book if these principles are helpful. This is just one little excerpt from the book on how to fundraise and how to go and do this well, do it ethically, do it relationally. Thank you guys so much for listening. And I want to remind you to lead well, live whole, and leave a legacy.